Hey guys. So, I'm a little late with this week's episode because honestly, I'm living my fucking life. Sorry, not sorry. Fuck. No, just y'all know I got my new job that I'm doing and I'm managing my store now and it's just a lot. It's a lot. So, you get what you get and you don't get upset. Fucking here I am, right? So, hey guys. Yeah, so, just going through life and, God, I always look at how everything relates to everything else, and just like I said, like me doing this new work is, causing me to reevaluate how I approach this podcast and shit like that, right? It's funny. It's funny how unrelated things can make you think of other things, and suddenly, before you know what's happening, everything is related. Everything is relative to everything else. And like I said, I notice this more and more as I allow myself to just accept things as they come and observe them with, I don't know, like a fucking natural wonder. Like a fucking curiosity around all of it, right? And, curiosity is a funny thing because, shit that happens, it isn't always good, Like, I recently thanked somebody for the role they played in my life, and they were like, you're welcome. And I'm like, it's not all good things that you did to me that I'm grateful for, right? Sometimes the shitty things teach us more than we want to admit, yeah? So, like, I don't know. So you all know, like, I've relocated myself like a fucking crazy person. I left the South and moved back to the Northeast because, I just... I don't know. Maybe I like torture, right? I don't fucking know. And even, like, I'm talking weather-wise, right? And like, as far as the weather goes, oh, fuck. Everyone's like, oh, it's supposed to be a really bad winter this year. I'm like, God damn it. Like, what the fuck? I don't even have a snow brush, right? Like, it's like, little things, But anyway, I digress. So, like, the weather, right? Like, okay, I'm from here, all right? So I'm going to talk shit because I can. It's my podcast. But I know how New England weather works. Trust me, I do. It's fucking all over the place, right? It always has been. It always has been, as long as I can fucking remember. I don't know. You can blame the fucking jet stream or fucking El Nino, okay? But it's kind of always been random, at least as much as I can remember. And, I get this. I do. So, I do have to say, sometimes I think everybody in New England should just move out of New England, even for like 3 to 6 months. Just to experience living somewhere else, because I feel like this fucking corner of the United States is just so fucking stuck in their goddamn ways. I'm just saying. I love you guys, but seriously, fucking try to move once in a while. I'm just saying. But so, when it comes to weather in New England, I'm just gonna fucking lay it out. Most New Englanders, they're whiny little ass babies. They are. When it comes to weather. Honestly, I don't know why. It's just how it is up here. And it don't matter, you guys. It don't fucking matter what the weather is doing, right? It don't matter. Like, it's always complaining about it, no matter what. And like I said, I've been living in the South for almost 6 years now, So I'm kind of looking at it from a different perspective, I guess, right? But nobody living in the South really does that. Nobody. Honestly, they don't. I'm not bullshitting you. In the South, it's like, it's hot. Yup. Well, it's more like drawn out like, yup. It's hot. Yup. It's raining. Yup. Fuck. It's like, that's it, though. It's take it as it is, because you can't fucking control it. You can't change it. Your complaining isn't going to change it, right? And you move on about your day. It's like an observation and that's it. Not in New England, though. No, fucking New Englanders will literally bitch to anyone who will listen. Oh, for fuck's sake, even post online about what the fucking weather's doing, as if we're not all living with it, just like them, right? Like, they're the only fucks in the area who are dealing with this particular weather. It seems to me like everyone lives like they're like their own little Eeyore from fucking Winnie the Pooh with their own personal fucking rain cloud, right? First, it's too hot, then it's too cold, then it's raining too much, and before we know it, we're all, fucking complaining about the goddamn snow. Eeyores. Fuck, shit. You know what? I don't know. I think the whole back and forth with the weather up here, maybe it's Mother Nature's way of telling these whiners to just fucking sit down and shut up, and fucking deal. But they never fucking learn, so the weirder weather just continues. Like, I'm sorry, Susan, that your hair has to be up in a bun today because it's raining, but we all like to breathe, and these fucking trees can't water themselves, right? Like, fuck. It's like humans got it in their heads that the weather is here to serve them. That's not the case. The weather is to serve the earth, right? Maybe think about that next time before you fucking post about the fucking weather. And I don't want to see the goddamn temperature on your fucking dashboard this year either, idiots. I'm just saying. I'm cranky today. Must be the new store. No, I'm just kidding. And yeah, so lately, right, it's October, it's been cooling down, right? So yours truly has gotten so used to like sunshine and warmth and being down south that I could be complaining more than anybody, right? Like, why did I move back here again? I mean, facts is facts, okay? 60 degrees in the north is a lot different than fucking 60 degrees in the south. It just is. It's not like one of those old fucking math problems where, like, you have a pound of bricks and a pound of feathers. Which one weighs more? Ooh, they both weigh a pound. No. Fucking 60 degrees in the south and 60 degrees in the north is two fucking totally different things. I don't care what you say. So I could bitch just like the rest of them, right? I mean, if weather was that important to me, I would. But, honestly, I approach the weather the same way I try to approach my life. I'm just of the mindset, like, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, so I'm fucking fine with it. The weather, it does not ruin my day, my attitude, or anything else, because it's literally beyond anyone's control. And so I started thinking about stuff like that, like how as humans, we can allow these things to just ruin other things that they shouldn't, yeah? You fucking hear me, Susan? So let's talk about this today. How we can all get better at working on being in the flow of each moment and not letting ruiners ruin anything that happens in our days, yeah? And shit, even all the rest of our days, once we get real fucking good at it, you guys, okay? So you ready? Good, because here we fucking go. First, we'll start with a simple one, okay? Because, besides the fucking weather, seriously, let's just let the weather do what it's gonna do and move on. And maybe focus on something good that happens because of that weather, right? Like if you're having a hard time, not being a whiny little bitch, maybe it won't feel so bad to you then. And I'm not talking like extreme disaster type weather, you guys. Yes, talk about that shit all day long, fucking earthquakes and tornadoes and shit. That's, that's out of the norm, right? But the day-to-day normal weather patterns, look, they're fucking patterns Because they repeat themselves at some point, okay? Just so you know what a pattern is. The more you know. I mean, I don't know, happy thoughts like fucking Peter Pan, I don't know. Like maybe you enjoy the smell of damp earth from the rain, or you're glad it's hot and sunny because you're on vacation. I don't know, pick something and fucking smile about it. See how much better you feel in your days when you start that pattern of thinking for yourself. I'm just saying. Anyway, here's one that I bet you're not even really conscious that you're doing. You probably think you're being humble when you do this, but actually what you're doing is ruining a perfectly good compliment. So, for example, let's say something big happens to you. Let's say you got a major promotion out of the blue, and that's pretty fucking cool, right? So someone congratulates you, and you say, "Aw, thank you. But, I can't take all the credit." Or, "Thank you, but it just means a lot more work for me." We have all done this. We try to deflect the attention away from ourselves and our great feat of, like getting that promotion, for example. So why? Why do we do this? Because we don't allow ourselves to celebrate the wins we earn. Just like fucking people don't allow themselves to deal with the weather as it is. We don't appreciate all our current wins because we're too busy focusing on what's next. We've stepped out of the present. See? I read something once that someone wrote around this as someone was congratulating them, and they did this whole like deflection thing, right? And the other person said to them, "You know what? Well, I'm going to give you your flowers. You can choose whether you want to water them or not." And fuck you guys. Is that not a beautiful thing? It helps us remember to, I don't know, fucking enjoy the wins we have while we have them. I really don't understand why it took me so long to appreciate them. I guess, now looking back, I can see how ungrateful I kind of was, without even realizing it, because it became an easy habit, a pattern to keep looking forward and never feeling good enough in the now, right? But guys, what a fucking game changer it is when you can finally see this clearly. It really is. And it starts with a simple switch in focus, like I mentioned with the weather. And then that becomes your new habit or your new pattern, right? And it's more enjoyable the more you fucking do it. So when somebody gives you a compliment, flowers, so to speak, take the compliment. It's on you afterwards to decide whether you want to continue to water yourself with the compliment, water those flowers that somebody gave you, or turn your back on it and let them die. That's on you. But don't dismiss a compliment from another person because, God, we break each other down enough. So if somebody's trying to build you up, let them. Let them. You deserve it. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. At least I really think so. Again, if someone is kind enough to wish you well, then again, just accept those flowers. And I think you should fucking water them. Hey, Susan, maybe that's why it's raining. So you can water them flowers. Poor Susan. I just heard a old Eminem lyric in my head. What does he say? I'm over here, Sue. You're talking to the plant. Look. That might be D12. That's an old one. Oh my God, I'm aging myself. But I don't know. I can't remember. But I always remember that lyric because my mom's name is Sue, so I always laugh at that one. I'm sorry, Ma. I love you. Anyway. Yeah. What else? Work, right? Talking about work earlier, right? Work is always a suck point, isn't it? The first reason we feel like work sucks is because a great chunk of the population works to live, and so the work they do isn't what makes them feel happy. Most people live life never being able to differentiate between what works for them in their lives and what people told them should work for them in their lives. So they take jobs just to have an income. And these types of jobs don't add value to the person, so the person doing them sees no value in it. It becomes mundane and routine, and when there is not joy in the job, right? When there's not joy in the job, people don't want to do it anymore. That's a fact. That's why it's so hard to fucking hire people. You have to look at the culture that you're creating in the job that you work. Just how it goes. There's always going to be a need for jobs. There's always going to be a need for us to have income on this earth as it is right now. So why make it miserable? And actually, that's when it's time for people to look and reevaluate when they feel miserable, where they want to be. But so many people don't. It took me a long time, not even at work, but also in my personal relationships. You know? And I finally got up enough courage to say, you know what? I care about you, but this isn't working. I like parts of this job, but this isn't working. And to step away. It's so hard once we get in a pattern to have enough courage to step away. But when you do, you guys, when you know in your heart that it's the right thing for you in your life and you do it, it's just a release, and you're finally embracing you. And that's what really matters. That's what we're here to fucking learn. But many people don't. And that ruins them in a way as to how they live their lives. It no longer is for their best good, and deep down they know it. And they live and suffer because they don't change it for what they truly want. Growth comes when you realize that you never had to live life a certain way just because so-and-so said that's how life goes. Life comes and goes as you live it. So someone forecasting how your life should be or you doing it to yourself is fucking stupid. I'm sorry, it is. So, take a look at where you may stand with this mindset, right? Always learn. And just be honest with yourself. Breaking the routine might be what you need, but only you can answer that by listening to your heart. And nobody's saying fucking drop everything. It's step by step, you guys. It's always step by step. That's being present. But your happiness, it shouldn't be up for discussion. Ever. I don't care what kind of pattern you found yourself in. And in the meantime, as you are working, whether it sucks or not, remember that your worth is important no matter what you do. And that you're not getting paid by the hour. We got to stop looking at our value as people in time and dollar amounts, yeah? Instead, we need to start realizing we are all worthy human beings, and we should base our worth on how much value we are bringing into each hour's worth of work. Yeah? Again, know your worth, as they say. Okay, so we fixed the weather. We fixed the shitty job. 2 patterns, right? Yeah, what else, you guys? What other ruins can we fix, huh? How about the routine of thinking we deserve things in our relationships in life? Things we don't like, that don't feel right. Something's off, yeah? How many times have you put up with shit that just fucking didn't work for you because you didn't want to, rock the boat, so to speak? Didn't want to offend another person. God forbid someone be upset at you. So you stay upset quietly instead, right? And in your own Right, and you're driving yourself crazy by creating this fucking pattern in relationships where you choose to hurt your own feelings over another's. No, I'm sorry, but how is that helping you build strong relationships? Go ahead, I'll wait. No. What kind of relationship is it if you can't even be who you really are? Can't say how you feel. Can't like or dislike. Can't agree or disagree without walking on eggshells around another human being. Why the fuck did you put them on that pedestal? That's fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know. Just imagine living your whole life as you, but only the you that does whatever the other person wants or says or thinks or likes. Newsflash. That's not you. You're being a puppet. That's you manipulating your life to please another. Once you do that, well, it's no longer your life. You've given them two lives. Your life has become theirs. They have two lives, and you have none. I say think about that next time you push aside your own damn feelings to appease another person. I think we can break that pattern quite easily, though, if we try. But the thought has to be that what we want or feel is just as valid, if not more so, than the person we're with's feelings. And I'm not talking about fucking causing a fight just to cause a fight. No. If that's what you're getting out of this, then you're not ready for this episode, okay? Plain and simple. And a lot of times, it's because we get so attached to the feeling of not being all by ourselves that we stick with the wrong people. And because we do, we give up what we truly want for ourselves and our lives. And we gotta stop doing that. And there's an easy way to see who is truly meant for us and who isn't. After all, being involved with someone in any way, friendship, love, whatever, well, their character cannot be hidden for too long. Sure, they can do it for a while, but sooner or later, the true colors are gonna fucking come out. That's your fucking pivot point. That's the pivot point in these types of relationships. When you see a color in someone that you're not comfortable with, it's not a crayon that you would pick to use out of the box. You get what I'm saying? You gotta speak on it. You gotta let them know. These are those boundaries we hear about all the fucking time, you guys, but they are the game changers in our lives. Boundaries. And it's not about being, I don't know. Everyone's going to have a different point of view, right? It's not about being upset about it. It's about knowing what is good for you in your soul, in your life journey, and what is not. And being okay with saying, this doesn't feel right. Right? And, as cool as we can all be, let's face it, most of us are not fucking mind readers. We're not. So if something hurts us, or even on the flip, if we want something with someone, we have to fucking speak to them. We have to feel powerful enough to know and honor and love what our own sense of self is trying to say to us. And what the fuck is important to us in our hearts. And what the fuck we mean, right? And honestly, we have to mean what we fucking say. Yeah? Like, don't say you want to be, don't say you want to be friends with someone and then ghost them. What the fuck is the point of that? Why do we do that to each other? Just say, you know what, it was nice to meet you, but I really don't see us hanging out after this. Why is that such a bad thing? I don't know. I know I can be a little blunt sometimes, okay? But fuck, at least in this case, the people know where they stand. It's that fucking limbo shit that kills us sometimes, I think. I don't know. That's what we do in these relationships, right? We try to bend ourselves to fit so that that we can stay in something we shouldn't, you know? In limbo, we force ourselves to, like, fall under this bar, right? Bending until we're about to break. Like, we fold ourselves. I don't know. I mean, it's a fun game, right? But when did this game happen to come alive in our lives? Limbo. And why? Why did we get so used to falling into this pattern where we bend ourselves for other people when we have always been meant to stand tall as who we naturally are? So, you know, how low can you go? Do you limbo? In your life, are you bending to the point where you're ready to break? Again, we can see limbo is all fun and games when, well, it's fucking all fun and games. But truth be told, when we find ourselves in limbo in any other areas of life, well, it's not so much fun, is it? It's a shitty pattern to be in. It really is. And take it from your girl who knows, okay? I've caught myself, even lately, in limbo in parts of my own life. And that's what caused me to see that I really don't like bending that way. Yeah? So I've been thinking about this lately. And the story of being in limbo has been around since fucking the dawn of time, it seems. Yeah? I'm dead serious. And again, I was looking at my own life, you guys, and some of my own current situations that have fallen into limbo, yeah? And it sucks. I know it does. But it made me wonder, what's the big issue we have as humans when we feel like we're stuck in limbo? First, I don't know. Like I said, limbo goes back to like ancient myths and shit. It does. For example, have you ever heard the story of Hades and Persephone? Well, my friends, even if you fucking have, you never heard Jen tell it. Well, you gotta fucking hear it now. So, this is ancient Greek myth, right? That honestly is used to explain the changing of seasons and shit here on Earth, but it also helps me limbo. How low can you go? How low can you go? If you're Persephone, you're going way fucking low. All the way down to the underworld. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. So, Greek mythology, in a nutshell here, in case you're not aware, okay? It centers around three gods who are brothers and basically rule over certain parts of the world. We have Zeus, pretty fucking well known, I'd say. He rules the skies, right? These dudes, they were sons of a titan named Kronos. Zeus overthrew his father Kronos and drew like lot lines on Earth with his brothers. Zeus became like the main ruler of Earth, like god of thunder and all that fun shit. His brother Poseidon ruled the seas, and bro Hades, he scored the fucking underworld. So one day, Hades sees Persephone and falls in love with her. He must have her. So he goes to Zeus, because Persephone is, she's the daughter of Demeter, who is another goddess. I hope I'm saying her name right. I think I am. And she loves her daughter very much. And Demeter is also a daughter of Kronos. Gods loved, like, fucking each other and their sisters and brothers. It's just how it went. I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, she's a daughter of Kronos too, and she rules like the harvest and grains and shit of the earth. So Zeus is all like, hell yeah, Hades, that's just cool with me. And Hades is like, okay, bet. But, Zeus, they like to, party and shit as gods because they can. And he forgets what he told Hades because I don't fucking know why, but he does. And Hades gets all impatient and pissed that he's waiting and waiting. And so one day, he sees Persephone out having a picnic with friends. The fucking Lord of the Underworld rises up and fucking kidnaps her. Fucking side note. Can you fucking imagine being one of those friends? Fuck. You're all biting your sandwich and all of a sudden the fucking Lord of the Underworld is in front of you. Nobody is gonna believe that story. Anyway, So Hades kidnaps Persephone and brings her to the underworld, where he actually treats her really fucking nice. But, it's the underworld and it's scary. And of course, Persephone, is scared shitless. And she won't eat. She won't sleep, right? But Hades offers her pomegranate, which is like known as the fruit of the gods and shit. And eventually she's there for so long that she eats like 6 pomegranate seeds. And this deal seals her fate, but I'll get to that in a minute. So meanwhile on Earth, Demeter is like searched high and low all over and cannot find her daughter anywhere, which depresses her, right? So she stops doing her job, which means all the crops on Earth fucking die, which means all the humans on Earth start to starve and die as well. Clearly, this is no good for Zeus. If there are no humans to worship him, then what's the fucking point? Am I right? So Zeus finally puts 2 and 2 together. Yeah, they drink a lot of wine, like I said, and remembered Hades and their talk about Persephone. So he goes down to the underworld, but because Persephone has eaten in the underworld, she now belongs there. And Hades has made her the queen of the underworld. So Zeus, he strikes a deal with both Hades and Demeter. Hades will have 6 months with Persephone, and the other 6 months she will return to the earth to be with her mother. During the time Persephone is in the underworld, the earth becomes dead, and when she is on earth, her mother rejoices and the earth thrives with growth again. This essentially creates the seasons on earth, like I said earlier. Death and rebirth on earth as the goddess of harvest waits in limbo for her daughter's return. See? Now, myths are used to explain things. We, of course, don't know what's true and what's not. We chalk them up to stories now because we don't see giant gods fucking walking around today. But the moral is there. Even ancient times had trials and errors, and when we would find ourselves in limbo, right? And maybe that's why it became a game, because the real version fucking hurts. Being stuck in limbo and not knowing is worse than knowing. I'm going to say that again. Being stuck in limbo and not knowing is worse than knowing. So if you're keeping somebody in limbo, fucking knock it off, you asshole. Tell them. Whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, don't keep somebody in limbo. That's not right. That shows more of your character. And that's not good. Anyway. I don't know what situation you're in your life, but that's a fact, okay? And I look at these situations in my own life. I have friendships stuck in limbo. Not on my choice, right? I want them to progress, but yet they remain fucking motionless. We can't find ourselves stuck in limbo. We can find ourselves stuck in limbo at work too, right? I don't know. I just think that as humans, we have certain patterns that we all fall into, and they all seem to mirror each other, even though we are all different in our own ways. But like when it comes to our emotions and shit and our dealing with other people, these scenarios play out over and over. Same as the Greek myths I just shared, right? Even today, if someone were to kidnap our child, we would hunt to the ends of the earth to find them, just as Demeter did, stuck in limbo until we find the truth of what happened to our loved one. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe you don't. But what I'm saying is we need to be able to recognize these patterns in our own lives if we're ever gonna fucking change them. Change them for the good. Not just for us, but for the other people involved around us, you guys. And that's what the spiritual journey is. It's the selfless honoring of the self for all involved around the specific self. I hope that makes sense. So I'm actively trying so hard in my own life to do this. I am. Recently, I reached out to someone who I wanted to connect with. And like Zeus, they were all like, yeah, Jen, that's fucking cool. I like you too. And then boom, fucking same pattern. I really hate this pattern with this person. I'm just saying, oh God, I care about the person. I really like the person, but I hate the fucking pattern. And the reason I hate it is because I care. And I wanted them in my life. But they just don't seem to get that. So they pull a fucking Hades disappear act with my emotions. And I just don't want to feel like that, you know? So I let them be. And it hurts. And it sucks. But, you know, they were basically keeping me in limbo. And part of me thinks they were doing it on purpose. Because I have no communication to tell me otherwise, right? So I stopped trying. I stopped. I don't bash them or hate them. I just stopped trying to understand what they're doing and why. I can't anymore because when I do try to understand, essentially I keep myself in limbo, waiting for them to treat me as I would treat them. That's not a pattern I want to be in again. I did that for 12 fucking years with my ex. Waiting for him to want to commit to me, waiting for him to care enough to show it. Waiting. So I don't know. I started thinking, what the fuck am I waiting for? What am I missing out on by staying here stuck in limbo waiting for something that's not happening in my now? Yeah? So I don't know. I hope this episode helps someone else get out of the limbo. Again, I know I'm working on it for myself, you know, and I gotta say, this old back feels way better standing tall. I mean, as tall as Jen can with her 5'4" self. And just, I don't know, no longer feeling like I'm being bent in a way that doesn't serve my highest good and my heartfelt desires. So I guess, stand tall, my friends. Move along your journey, taking in all of the scenery. Not just bent in a way that you can only see what one person wants you to see. Yeah? Good. Good. So I hope you do. I hope you choose to stand tall in your own truth from now on. And you know what? That's all for now, my friends. Much love, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.